The massive council chamber floated in the darkness of space, built from materials older than most civilizations. Inside, 47 different alien species gathered to decide the fate of a small blue planet called Earth. Ambassador Gina walked slowly across the enormous floor. Her footsteps echoed in the silent room. She was alone, representing all of humanity before creatures that saw her people as nothing more than useful animals. The walk to the speaker's platform felt like walking to her own execution. Above her, the aliens sat in rows that stretched up into shadows. Some had scales that glittered like diamonds. Others were made of pure light that hurt to look at directly. A few appeared as floating clouds of gas contained in transparent suits. They all stared down at the single human woman with eyes that held no warmth. "The human makes her request," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The Council Prime was a being of pure energy, ancient and powerful. "Speak quickly. We have many matters to discuss today." Gina took a deep breath. "Honored Council, humanity asks only for what every species deserves. The right to govern ourselves. The freedom to grow at our own pace. We offer friendship, trade, and cooperation with all galactic civilizations." A massive reptilian creature rose from its seat. Its scales were deep red, and its eyes glowed with contempt. This was Vorthak of the Draxcore people. "Friendship." The word dripped with mockery. "We have studied your world, human. You cannot even achieve peace among yourselves. Your people kill each other over invisible lines on maps. You poison your own air and water. You are children who found matches and think yourselves clever." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. An insect-like being with too many legs clicked its approval. "We are young," Gina admitted, keeping her voice steady. "But we are learning. We have created beautiful art and music. We have philosophies that explore the meaning of existence. We have survived ice ages and plagues. We deserve the chance to." "You deserve nothing." Vorthak's voice boomed across the chamber. "Your planet sits on deposits of 17 rare minerals essential to galactic industry. Your primitive society cannot properly utilize these resources. The logical solution is simple. Earth becomes a protectorate. You will work under our guidance. We will teach you civilization." "You mean slavery," Gina said, her hands clenching into fists. "We mean progress," another alien responded, this one resembling a jellyfish floating in midair. "Many species have benefited from protectorate status. You should be grateful we are offering guidance instead of simply taking what we need." Gina looked around the chamber, searching for allies. A few species looked uncomfortable. The Lumini, beings of soft golden light, seemed troubled. The plant-like Verdani swayed in what might have been disagreement. But most of the council members looked bored, as if this was a routine matter hardly worth their attention. "Please," Gina tried one more time. "We are asking for time. Let us develop on our own. We will share our resources through fair trade. Just give us a chance." Vorthak laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "Every primitive species begs for chances. They all promise cooperation. Then they waste centuries on pointless conflicts while the galaxy waits. The Council has learned efficiency." The Council Prime's voice cut through the chamber. "We vote now. All who support granting Earth protectorate status, indicate approval." Gina watched the voting display light up. Numbers climbed rapidly. 41. 42. 43. The count stopped at 43 in favor. Only 4 species had voted to give humanity freedom. "The decision is made," the Council Prime announced. "Earth is now a protectorate world. The enforcement fleet will depart within 7 days to begin integration. Ambassador Gina, you will remain here as liaison to ensure smooth cooperation." The word liaison sounded like hostage to Gina's ears. She stood frozen, watching her world's freedom die in a democratic vote. Vorthak descended from his seat, moving close to Gina. He towered over her, scales gleaming. "Your people will resist at first. They always do. But they will learn to kneel. Every species does eventually. It is simply the nature of power." Gina looked up at the massive alien, her jaw set with determination. "You don't know humans very well. I have conquered 14 worlds, little human. I know primitives quite well." "Then you've made a terrible mistake," Gina said quietly. "Because humans never learned how to kneel." 300 warships appeared above Earth like a swarm of metal locusts. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built. They positioned themselves over major cities, casting shadows across New York, Tokyo, Seoul, London, and Beijing. The message was clear: resistance was futile. Commander Threxon stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the primitive planet below. This was his 14th conquest. The process was always the same. Show overwhelming force. Demand surrender. Wait for the inevitable collapse of spirit. Usually it took less than a week. Broadcast the terms, he ordered his communications officer. The message went out in every human language. The words were simple and absolute. Disarm all weapons. Dissolve all governments. Prepare for work assignments. Humanity had 72 hours to comply or face destruction. Threxen expected panic. Perhaps some brave but foolish military response that he would crush easily. What he got instead was silence. Long, stretching silence that made him uncomfortable in ways he did not understand. Then, exactly 1 hour later, a response came from Earth. A single word transmitted from every corner of the planet simultaneously: no. Threxen's translator struggled with the emotion behind that word. It carried defiance, anger, and something else. Something that sounded almost like amusement, as if the humans found his threats entertaining. Show them we are serious, Threxen commanded. Destroy 10 military bases. Minimal casualties. This is a demonstration only. The fleet's weapons fired precisely. 10 bases across different continents erupted in flames. The aliens watched and waited for surrender messages to flood their communications. Instead, something impossible happened. Within 6 hours, every nation on Earth unified under a single command structure. Cities went dark not from damage but from strategic blackouts. Satellite networks rerouted through backup systems the aliens had not detected. Military forces disappeared into underground bunkers built decades ago during something humans called the Cold War. When Threxen sent ground troops to occupy the cities, they walked into nightmares. Captain Deho commanded the defense of Seoul. He had studied human history, particularly the wars his ancestors fought in these very streets. The aliens had superior weapons and armor, but they expected traditional battles with clear front lines. Instead, Deho turned the entire city into a trap. The subway tunnels became killing corridors where alien sensors could not penetrate. Office buildings became sniper nests. Sewers became ambush points. The humans used explosives so primitive the aliens had not bothered to scan for them. Chemical compounds mixed in basement labs. Gasoline turned into firebombs. Every citizen became a potential threat. The aliens lost 300 soldiers in Seoul in the first day. Not to advanced weapons, but to tactics they considered barbaric and uncivilized. Major Sora led Earth's first aerial counterattack. She commanded a squadron of jets that were laughably primitive by galactic standards. The alien AI predicted their flight paths based on optimal physics and fuel efficiency. What the AI could not predict was insanity. Sora's pilots flew like they were trying to die. They performed rolls at speeds that should have torn their aircraft apart. They attacked head-on when evasion was the logical choice. They pulled gravitational forces that would kill most galactic species. The human pilots blacked out repeatedly but kept flying through sheer willpower. Half of Sora's squadron died, but they destroyed an entire alien supply convoy. More importantly, they proved the aliens could bleed. Threxen watched the casualty reports climb higher each day. His troops reported that humans fought with a ferocity that defied logic. They did not retreat when outmatched. They did not surrender when surrounded. They adapted to alien tactics within days, finding weaknesses in technology thousands of years more advanced than their own. After 2 weeks of occupation, Threxen did something he had never done in his military career. He requested help. Send 3 more fleets, he told the council. Tell them the humans are not primitives. They are predators. And we just walked into their hunting ground. The council thought he was exaggerating. They had no idea how wrong they were. 6 months into the war, Dr. Minji stood in a laboratory that had once been a quiet university research facility. Now it was Earth's most important weapons development center. Around her, scientists worked without sleep, fueled by coffee and the knowledge that their entire species depended on them. Show me what you have, she said to her lead engineer, a brilliant woman named Hyori. Hyori activated a device on the workbench. A shimmering blue shield appeared, flickered, then stabilized into a perfect dome. We did not just copy their shield technology, she explained with tired pride. We understood how it works and made it better. Ours uses less power and can block their plasma weapons completely. Minji smiled for the first time in weeks. How fast can we make more? We have converted 18 factories. Full production starts in 3 weeks. This scene was repeating across the planet. Human engineers were not simply copying alien technology. They were improving it in ways the aliens never imagined. The Galactic Council had spent 10,000 years making small improvements to their weapons. Humans were making giant leaps in mere months. The difference was desperation. When your entire species faces extinction, innovation happens at impossible speeds. Human-computer programmers hacked into alien systems using methods that should not work. The aliens built their software with rigid rules and perfect logic. Humans attacked with chaos and creativity, finding gaps in perfection that the aliens never knew existed. Admiral Taeyang commanded Earth's first hybrid warship. The vessel was built from captured alien hull sections welded to human reactors and weapons. It looked like a junkyard sculpture, ugly and asymmetrical. "It looks terrible," his second officer Juno commented. "It looks dangerous," Taeyang corrected. "And it is about to teach these aliens what happens when you hunt humans." The ship, named Indomitable, led a strike force against an alien mining operation in the asteroid belt. The alien defenders expected a direct assault. Instead, Taeyang's fleet scattered like a wolf pack, isolating individual ships and overwhelming them with concentrated fire before vanishing into the asteroid field. The mining station fell in 4 hours. Earth claimed its first enemy territory in space. News of the defeat spread through the Galactic Council like poison. Species that had voted to enslave Earth began to panic. Some demanded total war and complete human extermination. Others quietly sent secret messages to Earth, asking about peace terms. The war was turning and everyone could feel it. Vorthak, the proud Draxcore warrior who had called humans primitives, found himself summoned before the council to explain how this was possible. "They adapt," he said, and his voice carried none of its earlier arrogance. "Every weapon we use they counter within weeks. Every tactic we employ they find a response. They do not have our numbers or our resources, but they have something we forgot existed." "What is that?" demanded the Council Prime, its energy form flickering with anger. "Hunger," Vorthak replied. "Not for food or land but for survival. These are persistence hunters. On their world, they chased prey across vast distances until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They climbed to the top of their food chain with nothing but endurance and clever thinking. We thought we were invading a primitive planet. We were actually attacking apex predators." The council chamber fell into shocked silence. "We have 3 options," Vorthak continued. "Total war that might destroy both sides. Continued fighting that we are slowly losing. Or surrender before the humans decide that defending their planet is not enough revenge." "Surrender?" Several council members reacted with outrage. "We have never surrendered to a primitive species." "They are not primitive anymore," Vorthak said quietly. 6 months of war has forced them to evolve faster than any species in galactic history. If we do not surrender now, they will not stop at defending Earth. They will come for all of us. And I do not think we can stop them." The council wanted to dismiss his warnings as cowardice. But the casualty reports told a different story. The hunters had become the hunted, and the prey was learning to enjoy the chase. 2 years after the invasion began, human warships appeared in orbit around Nexus Prime. The sight was impossible, yet there it was. The primitive planet that was supposed to kneel now brought an entire battle fleet to the galactic capital. Gina stood at the window of her quarters, watching her people's ships take defensive positions. She had spent 2 years as a prisoner, watching reports of war and watching the council's confidence slowly crumble into fear. Now her people had come for her, and they had not come to beg. The Council Prime's message arrived within minutes. "The Council requests negotiations." Gina's reply was simple and cold. "The Council will receive terms." She walked into the same chamber where Earth's enslavement had been voted upon. But everything was different now. The 43 species that voted to enslave humanity now stood on the defendants' platforms. They stood where she had stood, waiting for judgment. Admiral Taeyang walked beside her, his uniform marked with the scars of 2 years of brutal warfare. General Hannah accompanied them, the woman who had broken the alien ground forces with tactics they still did not understand. The Galactic Council acknowledges that the Protectorate decision was perhaps too hasty. The Council Prime began, its energy form dimmed and weak. "No," Gina interrupted. "The Galactic Council voted to enslave my people. You attacked our world. You killed 3 million humans. Do not soften your words now. Call it what it was." Vorthak stepped forward. The proud warrior looked decades older. His scales had lost their shine. "What are your terms for peace?" Gina activated a holographic display showing Earth's demands. Full payment for all war damages. Immediate freedom for every enslaved species in the galaxy. Complete restructuring of the Council so all species have equal votes, not just the powerful ones. And trials for those who ordered attacks on civilians. The chamber exploded with angry protests. Several species declared the terms impossible and insulting. General Hanna calmly activated another holographic display. Perhaps you would like to see what we developed during the war. We have made breakthroughs in quantum weapons, relativistic missiles and self-replicating combat nanites. Would you like a demonstration? The protest stopped immediately. Every species had received the technical specifications when the human fleet arrived. Their scientists had reviewed the documents with growing horror. Humanity had not just caught up to galactic technology. They had surpassed it in several terrifying ways. We would prefer not to use these weapons, Hanna continued quietly. But understand this clearly. If this war continues, we will not fight just to defend Earth anymore. We will fight to make sure nobody can ever threaten us again. That means dismantling your entire civilization if necessary. Every world, every station, every ship. It was not a bluff. The humans had uploaded proof of their capabilities. Weapons that could crack planets. Viruses that could shut down entire computer networks. Nanite swarms that could consume starships from the inside out. The Council had created a monster by forcing humanity to evolve through war. We need time to discuss these demands, the Council Prime said weakly. You have 1 hour, Gina replied. The same amount of time you gave us to respond to your invasion. That seems fair, does it not? 57 minutes later, the vote was called. Every species in the chamber voted yes. Unanimous acceptance of Earth's terms. Complete surrender. Vorthak approached Gina as the chamber emptied. You could destroy us completely. Why offer peace terms at all? Gina looked at the broken warrior with cold eyes. Because we are not you. We did not start this war. We did not vote to enslave another species. We simply refused to kneel. But make no mistake, Vorthak. We are offering mercy once. Only once. If anyone threatens Earth again, we will not offer terms. We will offer extinction. The Draxcore warrior nodded slowly. The galaxy will remember this day. The day humanity proved that the meek can inherit everything when they refuse to stay meek. 5 years after the war ended, Ambassador Gina stood in her office on Unity Base, watching Earth rise above the lunar horizon. The moon had become the new capital of galactic government. Every species that visited was reminded of where the new order began and what happened when they underestimated humanity. Her assistant Yunji entered with the daily reports. The Draxcore are requesting another extension on their war payments. Their economy is still struggling. Gina considered this carefully. Grant the extension. But tell them this is the last one. Other species are watching to see if we enforce our terms. The truth was simple. Humanity could have destroyed the Council species completely. They had proven they could outfight, outthink, and outlast any civilization in the galaxy. But Earth's leaders had chosen a different path, one that surprised everyone. The reformed Galactic Union operated on principles the old Council never considered. Every species had equal representation regardless of military power. Decisions required real consensus, not just votes from the strong. Trade was based on fairness, not exploitation. It was radical and it was working. Former enemies now worked alongside humans throughout the galaxy. Research stations mixed alien scientists with human engineers, creating breakthroughs neither could achieve alone. Trade routes flourished. Art and music from 1,000 worlds blended into something beautiful and new. But nobody forgot the war. Nobody forgot what happened when they pushed humanity too far. Commander Yoon led the Union Peacekeeping Force, a truly multi-species military that prevented conflicts before they started. Human officers trained alien soldiers in new tactics. The philosophy was simple: overwhelming force used with surgical precision, always in defense, never in conquest. Dr. Minji headed the Union Science Directorate, where human creativity combined with alien knowledge to push boundaries that had remained static for millennia. Her teams were solving problems the old Council had given up on centuries ago. The greatest change, however, was philosophical. The galaxy was learning that strength and mercy were not opposites. That forgiveness did not mean forgetting. That the most powerful response to cruelty was not more cruelty but justice. In a small museum on Nexus Prime, Vorthak served as the War Memorial's curator. The once proud warrior had been stripped of military rank but allowed to live. Humanity's mercy came with a condition: remember and teach others. His final exhibit had become mandatory reading in schools across 1,000 worlds. The words were carved into a memorial wall in every known language. We saw humans and thought them weak because they valued peace. We mistook their restraint for inability. We confused their diplomacy for cowardice. We learned the hardest lesson in galactic history: humans are only weak when they choose kindness. When forced to be strong, they become unstoppable. We voted to enslave Earth because we thought them inferior. Now we kneel before humanity not because they defeated us, but because they chose to heal us instead of destroy us. They taught us that true strength is knowing when not to use power. Never again must we mistake patience for weakness or compassion for cowardice. The age of galactic tyranny ended not with humanity's weapons, but with their wisdom. Gina closed her daily reports and looked back at Earth. Her world. The planet that was marked for slavery and instead freed an entire galaxy from thousands of years of oppression. Young Yunji stood beside her. Do you think they truly learned the lesson? Or are they just afraid? Gina smiled. Right now they are afraid. Fear makes them careful. But their children are growing up in a different galaxy, one where cooperation is normal and slavery is unthinkable. In time they will not follow our rules from fear, but from understanding. And if someone forgets? If another species decides to test humanity again? Gina's smile faded. Then we remind them. Firmly. Finally. We offered mercy once because we are not monsters. But we will defend what we built, and we will defend every species that cannot defend themselves. That is the burden of being strong. The age of humanity had begun, not with conquest, but with a simple refusal to kneel. And the galaxy would never be the same. The end.